Okay, hi everyone. My name is Desi, and today I will be discussing this topic of we are all one. So, going around in the truther community, I have noticed this phenomenon where everyone is starting to really amp up this idea and this philosophy that we are all one and we are all God and we are all one consciousness experiencing itself, and we're all a fractal of one consciousness, one God, and a dream or a sim or a matrix or all three combined. So, my idea is, as you all know, I think that literally everything in the mainstream is 99% false and 1% true. And I think that, this is just my personal opinion, and from what I've seen and what I've experienced here after multiple decades on this place, in this whatever we're in, I honestly have noticed we have this propensity in society to really think, aha, we figured it out. Oh, yeah, since everyone is saying it, it must be true. But honestly, when has that ever been the case? And one can make the argument that, well, this idea has been around for like millennia. This goes back to Hermes Trismegistus and all is mind and all is mental and mentalism, and we are all a part of the one. We're all emanations of the one. And that's fantastic, man. That's wonderful. And I do like the Kybalion. I do like the works of the three initiates. But just because someone publishes a book does not mean they know all of reality. And just because 2, 3, 4,000 years later, we're told some guy wrote this, doesn't mean it's true. Hermes Trismegistus may not have written any of the things accredited to that individual. And for all we know, this whole idea could have been just manifested into existence in the last 50 years or 100 years, who knows, or last 25 years. Growing up, I grew up in the deep south, and I grew up in a very spiritual household. We weren't very religious, but growing up in the south, it lends itself to superstition and spirituality. As a child, I saw ghosts and I saw items levitate midair, and things would just come off of a dresser, a foot away from the ledge, and just fall straight onto the floor as if someone knocked it over, someone unseen. And where I'm from, that's just normal. It's normal for people to have beings that are unseen interact with humans in the environment. So, that gives a little bit of insight into my background. And I never once heard my parents talk about the Kybalion. Never. They talked about all sorts of works of literature, worldly literature, spiritual, religious. They talked about obviously the big three, the Quran, the Torah, the Purdah Hadashah, the New Testament. But my family never said anything about Hermes Trismegistus. We talked about Plato. We discussed Socrates. We discussed the Emerald Tablets. But we never discussed the three initiates. And that kind of brings me to a point I have that, is it possible that this reality is just generating things to keep people distracted? I think a lot of the things that we think are very old are very new. And this whole idea of we are all one and we're all God and all of this, I'm, correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me down in the comments. Tell me if I'm crazy. I'm very open to that idea. Like, I'm not actually crazy or anything, but, I'm open to other ideas and opinions because we're all sojourning together. I don't have any of the big answers to life, but I know enough and I have seen enough to say what isn't going on. I can say that much, I have enough sense to say 2 + 2 does not equal 7,000. 7 + 7 will not equal star under any circumstance, not in this reality. So I think this idea of I am God, we are all one, came into existence, I would say maybe in the past 12 years. I know there's some people that may have thought about it in the 80s or may have even had like small groups underground that discuss things like that. But what I'm talking about is this pervasive idea, this thought form that is pushed out into the physical ether that we're inhabiting, that is taking hold of people and really deluding people into believing that we are all one. We are all God experiencing itself. And that sounds fantastic on the surface. But when you're really listening to it and you really think about it and you really engage with the individuals that truly believe this, you really start to see how disturbing and creepy that idea is. This idea that we're all one, we're all God, this is all our creation. Reality is us pushed out. Everyone is you pushed out. Everything is you pushed out. So you mean to tell me that you are one with child molesters? You are one with rapists. You're one with people that touch little kids. You are one with genocidal maniacs. You are one with organized crime. You're telling me that you are the same consciousness as Adolf Hitler? You're telling me politicians is a part of your consciousness as God? Does that make any sense? And I know that there could be a corollary to this hypothesis, or this theorem rather, that, okay, we're all God and then there's backdrop characters in the dream. Cool, man. But isn't everyone you pushed out? So what you're saying is that the people that keep society running, the people that work at the coffee shop, the people that you tend to as your patients, your customers, your family members, the people that say that they love you and lay down next to you when you're having a bad day, you telling me those are not real people? You're telling me that they're non-player character or non-playable characters? You're telling me that those are NPCs? Isn't that dehumanizing? And, isn't that what spurred a lot of the genocide that we've seen in this world? By having a pervasive idea that there are people groups that are inferior to you. Now, on a personal note, I give credence to a lot of different ideas. I think that it is possible that some of the philosophy of we are all one could have merit, certain points here and there. But through and through, I don't think it is a valid life philosophy. I don't think it's a valid view of reality or actuality, because it just, for one, doesn't make any sense. It's dehumanizing, it's disgusting, and it's just very silly. And as people that are on the quest for truth, we need to be very logical, aware, and conscious about the things that we're doing and saying that we are one with inmates and murderers and junkies is just ridiculous. Now, do I have anything against people with substance abuse problems? No, I don't. But I am not one with every single junkie in the world, past, present, and future. You see how that's like obvious? That just doesn't pan out in the way we would like it to. When we hear these thoughts, we think that we're on to something, we are catching on to reality, oh, we got reality now. We figured it out. There's another piece to the puzzle. But what I'm saying is that it might be possible that reality is just generating these ideas just to keep us confused and distracted and conceited and cocky, thinking that we know things that we have no idea what the fuck is going on. Honestly. Because think about it. If you think that you are God, what is there for you to know? What is there for you to learn? What is there for you to become aware of? Not, seriously. Now, I know it's the last thing to do is to remember. The last thing to learn is to remember. That's fantastic. Oh, nothing outside of you matters. Everything that you need is within you. Cool, man. That sounds great. But, if that was the case, why doesn't everyone have their doctorate? If you just know everything and everything is within you, then you should be able to unarchive all that information and go and take the MCAT and, make a 528 on it. But you see how none of that holds up? And you see how maybe we are some sort of grand beings, but we're not this whole the one. We're not maybe the Almighty either. We may not be fractals of God. You see how dismissive and creepy it is to say that innocent people out there that have never harmed anyone are one with drug traffickers. The little girl that has leukemia that still volunteers at the Salvation Army every other Saturday with her family for 2 hours is being told that she is one with a rapist. Does that make sense? I really want you all to think about this. I really want us to be critical about the things that we're letting into our minds and into our hearts. Because these things can actually make you go insane. You can actually develop psychosis and narcissistic religious delusions and all sorts of harmful mental illness. Because we are so tired of disappointment. We're so tired of the lies. We're so tired of the suffering that this reality brings us. And we want a way out, whether it's mental or otherwise. We just want to be able to ascend, at least mentally. And we grab on to anything that sounds true, anything that feels like it's stirring something up within us, that it's hitting our tuning fork. That's called? Do you really know what that is? When people are like, I know the truth when I hear it. You know what that is? Emotionalism. And, hear me out. You may say, well, my emotions aren't engaged. I'm not crying. I'm not feeling any emotion. I'm not feeling stirred up. Well, the thing about emotionalism is you can have emotions without having the feelings that you think correspond to those emotions. Because feelings and emotions are different things. So it's the same thing with religion. A lot of individuals that have been outcasted from religion have invaded the truth community. And originally, well, I wouldn't say originally because the truth community has always been a thing, but I'll say the truther community, the modern version of it. I would say our truther community has been invaded by these religious outcasts within the past few years, and it has taken a very drastic toll on the community of truthers. And as a result of a lot of religious people trying to find refuge in the truther community, we have seen an uptick in a lot of religious delusions, narcissistic religious psychosis, all sorts of just very sad, delusional ideas that are coming from a religious stance. And I think that the individuals that are traumatized by religion do not understand that that thing still has a very deep, strong hold on them. And I don't want to say it's for life, but I know that the God of religion, not the God that people think exists, or like the Almighty or the One, or, the everything, not that, not the Pleroma, not Brahma, or, I probably used the wrong term. I said Brahma, but, not the Bodhisattva, none of that. When I'm talking about the God of religion, is the God of all religion, the God that created religion. So people don't understand that Buddhism, Christianity, Sikhism, Taoism, Taoism, Islam, Confucianism, all of that is all the same thing. It all springs from the God of religion. People are acting as though their egregores are some sort of divine entity that is outside of the matrix that created them, when in actuality they create their little tulpas, they create their little egregores, and they can do tulpamancy, but they don't understand what they're doing when they're evoking their tulpas or evoking their egregores, whichever ones they have in their culture. But the whole thing was created by the God of religion. The God of religion created all of it. The idea, the propensity towards religion, the longing for something outside of yourself to explain your existence. People want to believe that, there's a God out there. There's a God. They want to be theists instead of deists. And instead of understanding that, as far as we know, your parents are your gods. Who created you? Who gave you life? Who formed your mortal body? Who willed you into existence? Who got you here? Who fed you? Who clothed you? Who took care of you? Whether you were abused or not, you might have had different parents. You might have been adopted. You might have had foster parents. You might have been raised by a relative. But at the end of the day, your parents are the individuals who created you. And for as much as pondering as we have done in the truther community, we're still at square one when it comes down to who we are, when we are, what we're doing here, how we got here. We all want to believe that we are immortal and we have these past lives, and there's no way in the world that, these past life memories can just be out in the field of thought and we're just intercepting these thoughts. There's no way that, it could just be something that we are receiving because we have antennas. We all want to believe that we're something greater than mere mortals that need to eat other living beings to survive. But in actuality, we actually don't have any proof that we're anything other than this, just this. And you can say, well, near-death experiences. I can say I have had multiple actual death experiences. I can say I have drowned multiple times. I drowned for the first time when I was a youth, and I woke up outside of the pool. No lifeguard, nothing. It's just almost like I reset and I just spawned in at a different place. I drowned a different time as an adult. Multiple times. I was not trying to drown. I just was simply in a large body of water, and I had a little bit too much to drink and didn't have that much where I was blacking out, but I definitely went under and I stayed under. And I came and I woke up and I was outside of the body of water in a safe place. So when people are saying all these things of, I had a near-death experience and my astral form floated above my physical body, and I went to heaven, all this stuff, and that's great, man. I never said there's no such thing as the astral realm. The astral realm is all a part of this matrix. I never said that part of your body wasn't a part of your body. I never said that your spirit or your soul form or your astral form wasn't a part of your body. Never said that. What I did say is we don't know for sure that we are anything other than what we are here. Now, can we confirm that we are more than just a physical body? Yes, we are electrical signals, we are consciousness, we are energy, we are electromagnetic fields, we have astral bodies. At least some of us do, and they are attached and tethered to our physical bodies. So when individuals really, really, truly want to believe that they were extant before their parents forced them into this existence, it gives way to religious psychosis. Because when you want something to exist and to be true so badly, you'll find a way to make it true. Hence, this idea, we're all God. We are all fractals of the one. We're one, where everyone is you pushed out. Okay, the person that abused me when I was a child is me pushed out before I could even, think for myself, before my brain was fully developed. I was doing all that stuff when, I'm not saying these are my actual experiences. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just talking in general as just a person. This could be anybody's experience. You're saying everyone is you pushed out. Every soul being is you pushed out. Well, I've had real soul beings, real people with spirits and astral bodies and, all that stuff do weird stuff to me and antagonize me and bring me adversity and, all sorts of weird shit. And I'm not going to get into particulars because they don't deserve that much respect or energy or time. But, and I'm keeping this pretty PG. I've talked about some pretty deep subjects, but I haven't gone in depth. I haven't gone into any deep depth, so I'm not going to go into depth with experiences, so I'll just gloss over things, but you get the point. I don't exactly know what all of this existence is. But on this channel, my goal is to sojourner together with you and maybe figure out some things together and put our thoughts together. And if you think I'm wrong, let me know. Tell me down in the comments. I definitely encourage people to come at me. Respectfully, of course. Don't call me like a dumb bitch or anything. But, tell me why you think I'm wrong. Tell me why you think I'm right. Tell me why you think the sky is actually gray instead of blue. Why you think blue is a new invention. why blue isn't really blue, and blue isn't a primary color. Rather, cyan is a primary color, and cyan is not blue. Just because something is in between two colors doesn't make it both the colors. You know, it's different. Gray is not black. Gray is not white. Gray is gray. It's in between black and white. It's a mix of black and white, but it is not either one. It's its own separate entity. So, cyan is cyan. Cyan is not blue, just like red is not a primary color, originally it wasn't a primary color. Magenta is the primary color. So, like what is red? Where'd that come from? But, these are just my thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really love you guys. I think that you all are amazing and beautiful and worthy of all of the best that this life has to offer. And I want to work with you to ensure that you have such a strong, beautiful force field around you that you just really don't experience really that much pain or suffering, the least amount as humanly possible. I want that for you. I mean, I want that for me, obviously, but I want that for you too. And I think a part of relieving pain and suffering is truth. Truth sets you free. Logic. Logic sets you free. What is logic? Just math. If the math ain't mathing, something's up. So next time someone tells you we're all God, we're all fractals of the one, we're all one consciousness. Are we? Are we really though? You were really insulting me right now by telling me I'm one with rapists. Like, that's really messed up. That's fucked up, man. But yeah, no, I want the best for you. And I hope you have a great day. Please like, subscribe, leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if I'm crazy, if I'm off my rocker. Let me know if we are God. Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. I sincerely do. And I will see you all next time.